All right, team. I just wanted to show you a nice little function within Word. So you may sometimes be facing a situation where you have two documents and you don't know if they're the same or if they're different. And even if they are the same or different, you may not know exactly what changed. So within Word, you've got two functions. What's called a compare function and what's called a combine function. Now, the reason I like doing the compare is because the combine can get a little awkward. I like doing a compare, then a combined if I need to. So what we do is we go into review. And you'll notice here we have a compare. And we're going to do a compare function. Now, it's going to ask us what is the original document and what is the revised document. So right now, one of the things that we're looking at is I saw a couple versions here on the learning plan. Again, this is just a very common mistake we often have is if we have saved two documents and it gives us a one copy, as you can see here. So I'm going to assume this is probably the first, let's say it's original. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save the revised document. And we're going to go into that same thing. Let's kind of, wait a second, go back one more time. So let's do this one more time. We're going to go here. So in this case here, we're doing meal, and then kind of remind me, is it monitoring? Which one? Design, okay, great. So sorry, in this case, you need to actually go through the prompt or the wizard. So we're gonna go here, and now we have these two here. Sometimes you may find it helpful just even to change the titles so you can see a little bit easier, but in this case here, we're gonna assume this is the original. And we're now going to assume that this is a copy. Okay. And sometimes what I like doing is I do like, sometimes it's always a little bit harder. You know, we can see now that as we put our cursor over there, we can make sure, yep, that's one case. If you look at that tab, and then here you see that's the other. So what you do now is you click an OK. And it does this great little magic. Oh, or not. So I think this is an interesting case here, but I'm going to show you another one. What it indicates to me is that these two documents are exactly the same. Yeah? But let's do something different. What's the document we may have recently worked on this week or this year? Oh, how about this one? Here's a great example for all of us. What differences did we make between what we submitted to USAID and what we resubmitted to USAID for annual work plan? The narrative level, yeah? Because I think we had a little confusion around this. So this is not, it's more difficult to do it in Excel, okay? So either way, let's go in here again. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna say review, compare. And I'm gonna compare two documents. I'm gonna compare the original one. I'm gonna go back here for a second. So we had an annual work plan. We have the FY20. And so we have here, we submitted one on, I guess, the second, huh? Which makes sense. All right, so we're going to call that the original. And now we want to see how that compares to what did we submit oh, my mistake. Really sorry, I'm quite confusing us all. Let's try that one more time. So I've actually looked in the wrong one. So let's go back to here. That we should have gone into 21. That was my mistake here. So let's just say we went into old, and then we had, this is a problem when you, let's even say this is, let's not worry about this. Let's just choose an old version and a new version, okay? So this is one we made earlier on in the process. And this one here is the one that we actually submitted to USAID. Let's go back here. This is this here. And, all right. Hopefully this will work for us. Yes, read it. Okay, we're going to do this one. All right. All right, so now we're going to push this OK, and we're going to hopefully find, ta-da, oh, ta-da, oh, it'll take a little while here. So now you can see all the changes I made. Yeah. And that's great. Yeah. Because now I know which part of the document I changed. Yeah. So you can imagine this is really helpful if somebody, let's say for instance, you're working on a document, there's some confusions on versions, you look at that. Or let's say that you're doing a modification and you want to say, well, what did I make a difference between these two legal documents? Yeah. Well, in that particular case, you can see where you made those changes without reading every separate line. Yeah. So it's always best if you can find the original, then you say the revised and you compare the two. If you can't, if you do the revised and the original, you get slightly different things because you have kinds of differences there, but it allows you to quickly look at when you have two documents you're uncertain about. Yeah. So that's it. That was a small skills building. Actually, guys, I have your attention. There is a slight difference with the combine. Let me show you as we are looking at this. So let's go back here, review, and then combine. Combine gets quite interesting. Again, I always suggest you go on to your go into Google and you'll learn these, because right now this is not necessarily this is not a very thought through tutorial, but as I'm dealing with the issue, I thought I'd do it. And let's kind of go up now. Let's say that was here. What it's done in this case is actually kind of has made those choices for you. Go back here. All right, well, maybe I can't give you the example I wanted to. There's always some slight differences, and I don't have time to go through them all. But just I would encourage you at some point to take a look at what's the difference between compare and combined, but to be aware of that whenever you're facing big time crunches, you want to find shortcuts, and I find this to be a very good shortcut to make sure we understand what we look at. All right? All right. Thank you for those who are attending in person. For those who are not, I will send out this link.